what communities can do is to take responsibility for their own homes and their community centres and their public buildings by getting creative with things like microhydro and solar.
Community groups have a huge opportunity to influence the local authorities and to lobby Welsh Government as well. And they have the opportunity to bring like-minded people together.
There's a huge role potentially to play in also keeping the money locally, rather than the money disappearing off to the big six, to shareholders in London and Frankfurt and wherever it may be. If we can produce the energy here in Wales, then we can keep some of that money in the local economy.
With renewable energy, we can have this role that we can own our own energy generation company and keep the profit locally, develop it locally with local investment, and also use it locally. That would be the holy grail for us, is that we could have an energy local model like in Scotland, where we could sell the energy to our neighbours at good rates, and then when the money comes back in as a profit, we can target fuel poverty and also low carbon projects within our county.
Well, I think there's a massive role that all those organisations can play. I think there's a lack of capacity within communities, in some communities at least, to understand what the possibilities are. And then if people do realise and start to want to take action, there is still not necessarily enough of the right support out there to help communities to develop the capacity to take forward projects. I think that in terms of business, if we can harness the business expertise and financial expertise that we may have locally, then I think that can be invaluable to community groups.
Local authorities need to be very much aware of the potential, because they're the ones that have to give planning permission, certainly for this type of scheme that we've been involved with.
In the ideal world, a local authority would become involved in energy production, but I think we're a long way from that. So I think the best we can do at the moment is just for local community groups to develop their own renewable energy projects, and then once the energy projects are producing renewable energy, then we can look at ways that we can use that within the community and reinvest the profit.
Clearer strategies, priorities and policy frameworks in Wales that guide regulations at local authority and Natural Resource Wales levels, while supporting local ownership and development, will continue to be left behind and taken advantage of by the multinational developers not delivering local benefits for using local resources.
Pam dwi'n siarad efo'n bwrdd rheoli ni, siarad efo bobl lleol, mae bobl yn dallt pam fysych chi eisiau rheolaeth dros yr egni na sydd allan yn barod, a sut lle ni harnesu'r egni na, a bod na fydd i bobl lleol. Dwi'n meddwl bod yna lot o bobl a diddordeb yn hynna, yn hytrach na gweld cwmnïau mawr o tu allan yn dod mewn, gwneud bydd mawr allan ohono fe, ond di'r arian ddim yn sefyll yn lleol. Lle os ni'n edrych at Cynulliadwyedd, dwi'n meddwl bod yn holl bwysig bod e'n cael ei reoli ar lefel cymunedol.
Businesses working in partnership with community groups to deliver renewables on a large scale is certainly the way forward, I think. Perhaps getting involved with large-scale wind farm developments and allowing community groups to be able to purchase a wind turbine or be able to buy into a large solar farm or buy investments in large combined heat and power units would be certainly a way forward.
I think until it affects people personally, they're probably unlikely to get engaged unless they already have an awareness of how energy impacts them as community members.
I think the best way is to start with something small and demonstrate the benefit, demonstrate how the income can come back to local communities, and I think that's really the best way.
As for the smart energy network, I think you have to show them a direct benefit of lower bills, and we'll get there slowly. I think there's a strong correlation between producing your own energy and then knowing how to use it effectively and efficiently. And I think that's the first stage really, is produce our own energy, offer advice, peer groups that can be trained to offer advice neighbours talking to neighbours, that sort of thing. And then the advantages of LEDs, electric cars, smart grids, energy monitors, peak load management, all this stuff. I think that'll come into the normal vernacular one day, but I think we're a long way off that at the moment, though obviously people in the industry realise the potential that it has.
I think the best way to engage communities in the smart energy agenda is to go out and work with them. We already have a lot of organisations doing that around Wales. Many communities are already interested. Just last month we held an event in Llanberis for community energy groups that was attended by just over 50 people interested in local supply of renewable energy as a means of addressing fuel poverty.
Y ffordd orau ac cymunedau i gymryd rhan yw bod nhw'n gallu gweld llwyddiannau cymunedau eraill. Da ni yn gweithio ar brosiect yn Gogledd Orllewin Cymru wan, lle da ni'n trio creu clwstwr efo mudiadau lleol, 5 ohono ni'n cydweithio fe gilydd. Mae'r rhai o'r prosiectau yna wedi cael eu hydro yn gweithio. Felly, weles i restr byddornod o'r holl gamau o'n nhw wedi bod drwyddio. Dydwch bod yna rhywbeth fel 20 cam, prif gam datblygu tam bod chi'n cael y tyrbain i droi. A dwi'n meddwl bod ni felly ar cam 3 a bod nhw wedi cyrraedd cam 20 bod e'n teimlo bod ni wedi gwneud lot o waith yn barod. Ond os dwi'n gweld cymuned arall wedi cael llwyddiant, a os di cymunedau eraill yn gweld Antiwain Fawr wedyn mewn 2 blynedd wedi cael llwyddiant, dwi'n meddwl bod e'n sbardun go iawn i weld pa mor bosib ydi o'i wneud e.
Most people are engaged with their pocket and how much things are costing them. So if we can persuade people that if we can develop a smart energy grid in Wales, that we are going to produce more money in the local economy and we're going to be keeping the money in the local economy, then I think people will come on board.
Our main motivating factor was the issue of the need to get away from fossil fuel generation and be also to be aware of bringing money back into the community.
Betws Mountain in Ammanford, and apparently those wind turbines are owned by multinational companies, and a lot of the profit has been taken out of the communities who are putting up with the wind turbines and the open cast coal mines and the solar panels, and it's leaving the community. I think Wadebridge in Cornwall is a great example where they can produce £6 million from tourism, where they work hard at all year round, but they're spending 13 million on energy bills. So the thought of creating the energy locally by a locally owned company that local people have invested in, and then keeping the money within the community and obviously having the multiplier effect, and the money goes round and round, the energy goes round, it becomes more effective. Because don't forget, the lower your energy bill that you're paying one of the big multinationals, the more money you've got to spend down the local shop. So I suppose it's all about being a bit clever and stop being so tup. Well, I'd love to say there aren't many obstacles to community renewable energy schemes, but that's not the truth. The truth is that there are many obstacles and it's incredibly complex. I suppose if you start from basics, communities are very rarely own land and they very rarely have any spare money. So that's a bad starting point when you try and develop a multi-million-pound business. However, with the support of Welsh Government, through Ynni Craffach, we've been able to do the early feasibility work, trying to work with local authorities. Obviously, that's been a bit of a challenge in itself, but there's been some cooperation. The main obstacles, I suppose, have been the permissions system. The planning system doesn't give any credit to community-owned renewable energy schemes. It just judges it on its merit. Obviously, capacity of developing these schemes is a highly complex issue. Lots of time required, a lot of headspace needed to put into this when you're trying to bring up families and all the rest of it. But I think my main gripe would be the permission system, not just the planning system, but also Natural Resources Wales when it comes to hydro schemes.
Planning and grid connection capacity, really. Planning is obviously with wind turbines, it's probably more difficult than other things because of the controversy in some areas over wind development. But then hydro schemes, you might think would be easier in that respect, but require an awful lot more permits to develop. I understand for hydro schemes you need 8 permits to get a scheme up and running. So life could be much simpler, really, and I hope Welsh Government can help with that.
Westminster government clearly is not keen on renewable energy, or certainly community renewable energy. We're seeing a reduction in the feed-in tariff, and we're also seeing the taking away of the tax incentives, which I mentioned before. And so we really need pressure putting on Westminster to change that for community groups if possible, and I think the Welsh Government has a role to play in that.
We've spoken with the Welsh Government, helping them to design Ynni 2, and we're working alongside the Welsh European Funding Office to try and begin a project that will help us overcome these barriers and ensure that there is expertise coming into the communities to help more community energy projects develop.
Of getting this scheme to where we are, we've hit a lot of obstacles. Some of them have been caused by the Welsh Government, some of them have been caused by local factors. It's taking a long time to get agreements with various people. I think National Resources Wales are probably the people that are holding us up still, and it's been very, very frustrating that it's taken so long, and we've lost quite a lot of our potential income from this.
Well, I think some countries have set targets for community energy projects, and there's got to be, I mean, if Wales did that, there would have to be a concerted effort with everybody joining together to meet those targets, because I know targets can be turned against you on times, can't they? But I think, Germany, Scotland even, something closer to home, I think they've met their kind of community energy targets. So I think, and there's probably other countries as well that we can learn from, but certainly, seeing the amazing amount of electricity that's being produced by community-owned projects and renewables in other countries, I think Wales is the right sized country to kind of follow suit.
I think the Welsh Government is aware of what has happened in Germany, which is really amazing. And there are hundreds of community-owned energy cooperatives which are developing renewable projects there. And it would be great if we could do something like that in Wales, and I see no reason why not. We have huge potential for renewable generation, and we can supply not only our own communities but export to England as well.
If you look at other places such as Scotland and Germany and Denmark, they've done huge amounts. They own their own power, they own their own, they have smart grids, and even in some countries they own their own grid. And what we can learn from them is that it's doable. And hopefully we can pick up on their positivity and their can-do attitude, which I think we are lacking a bit. We're a little bit cynical sometimes and a little bit pessimistic about what we can achieve. And I think we can learn from other countries that just as ordinary people coming together, working together, we can do these things. We can do incredible things and build wind farms and solar farms, and we can deliver electricity to our local community and even heat to our local community. It can be done, and it has been done.
Mi nath Llywodraeth Cymru bod yn flaengar iawn gan ddeud bod rhaid cael partner preifat, cymunedol a statudol i greu canolfannau ailgylchu yng Nghymru. Felly gaethon ni'n gwahodd i weithio efo Cyngor Gwynedd ar y pryd fel rhan o'r Strategic Recycling Scheme. O'n i'n rhan o brosiect dros 2 miliwn i gael grantiau a creu caergylchu, sef canolfan a dennill deunyddiau yng Nghanarfon, sydd yn bwysig iawn o ran ailddefnyddio ailgylchu yng Ngwynedd. Be swn i'n deud ydy, meddyliwch sy'n ni'n gallu cael y math yna a dorgedau yn hermau darpariaeth egni cymunedol yng Nghymru. Fel bod gynnon ni'r weledigaeth yna, wedyn bod gynnon ni gyd y cynlluniau cymunedol, mae gyd wedyn yn ffitio, a bod ni'n cael yr un llwyddiant o ran gwedwch cynlluniau hydro neu groundsource beth bynnag ydyn nhw, bod ni'n cael yr un math o ffocws a llwyddiant efo egni cymunedol.